Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I want to do a video on escapism. I see it a lot. I've been seeing it in myself quite a lot, and I've been trying to correct it, and I've been seeing it in just people in general. Everyone has some kind of way to escape, and I think it can be good, and I think people need a break, but in my case, it's been getting quite excessive with scrolling and social media and such things. I spend a lot of time on Wikipedia. I probably have a PhD in knowledge that isn't even correct by this point in my life. I spend a lot of time kind of on WebMD, Wikipedia, PubMed. I'm kind of looking at PubMed is more reputable than the other two. Kind of looking at things like studies on creatine and those neurotropics and supplements, as well as sleep routines. I'm kind of into history, anything to do with society in general, psychology. I listen to a lot of lectures on like university lectures. I know Yale and a few other universities have free lectures, and I'll listen to those when I can. But it is an endless scrolling, and I am tied to my device more than I should be. The way that I see it is it's limiting my social interactions, and I'm not getting out as much as I should. Typically, I do these things more in the winter, and in the summer, I get out a little bit more, but just the way that my current routine is structured, it kind of is hard to break the pattern of the social media scrolling, because I have one job, then I have like probably like maybe a 3-hour time between them, and then I go to my other one, and really all I can do in that time is scroll. But that's not true, because I can be doing other things, and sometimes I do. Sometimes I've been going to the gym, and but it's hard to break habits when you fall into them, and I'm just being conscious of that, and I see myself falling into that trap. I think it's quite common. If you want to leave a comment on how long you're on social media, that'd be interesting to get kind of like a consensus on that. I see people that are doing obviously more harmful than just social media. There's people that are doing hard drugs. Obviously, we see that on the street quite frequently with heroin, fentanyl, crystal meth. People are like shitting in buckets, basically, tent cities all over the place, and that's an extreme form, very extreme form of escapism. I don't know exactly if you can put it to one issue when it's the homelessness. There is a lot of mental health components that go into that, a lot of schizophrenics. And there's a lot of people that just had very, very rough childhoods that living in a tent is really all they can do. Like, I don't want to give excuses to people that are damaging businesses, but at the same, I think one thing that can help here is actually more dry facilities. We're seeing where I'm at a lot of wet facilities being built, and I was talking to one girl who was on speed. I had a video, you could check that out if you want. I hung out with a schizophrenic girl high on speed. She seemed nice. I think that's the title of the video, where she followed me around downtown, and pretty much all the problems that I got from her in the 45-minute interaction that I had with her was she needs a dry facility, because she said that she relapsed on crystal meth, and it was because her roommates at whatever housing facility she had were smoking, and then she just can't help herself but participate in that when she sees it. And she was schizophrenic, and she was kind of going off in tangents about how she was like not a billionaire, but her parents were super rich, like famous people, and there's somebody following her, some different things like that were just textbook schizophrenia. And so she needs to be in a dry facility with support, and she's kind of looking up to me for that. Like, she wanted to hang out with me because she saw that I was kind of had my stuff together a bit more than her. At least that's what she said. When you're dealing with people who are on the street, you have to obviously make sure that they don't find out where you live, because I've been there before in a similar situation where I had a guy with fetal alcohol syndrome. He didn't know where I live, but I gave him my phone number, and I was friends with him, and he would call me sometimes at 2 a.m. to like drive and pick him up, and he wasn't even in the same city as me at the time. So I mean, you get some craziness when you give people personal information like that. But back to the point, is that's escapism. She's clearly suffering from mental health problems and probably some traumas in her childhood as well, and she needs to get out of that. We see escapism as well with alcoholics on work sites. There's people that are either apprentices, journeymen, whatever, on work sites. They have the shakes. They're either hiding it or they're drinking on the job, and people it's an open secret. Why people are doing that, once again, might be a troubled childhood. They might not be able to keep up. They feel anxious. It could be a bunch of things. Could be that they just had a partying lifestyle in their younger days, and it never went away, and they use it as a crutch. I see that a lot. A lot of people on the spectrum seem to turn to alcoholism to give them kind of that social confidence. Video games are another one. People playing video games, I get it, after a long day of work, people are tired, they come home, they want to play video games, and you do have a social community with the video games. You have your headset on, you're talking to people that you know. That was a debate like 10-20 years ago, is what constitutes a real friend, and if an online friend is a real friend. And I think the floodgates have broken to where online friends are now considered real friends. But I still believe, like, to be physically in front of someone, making eye contact, physical touch, laughter, in-person interactions are still better than that. And I still view that as a form of escapism. Marijuana, same thing. I think that's a dead end. It is abused a lot of the times, and a lot of people don't want to admit that. It can actually, there's been studies that have came out now that it shows that people are higher at risk for schizophrenia and other disorders such as that if they're chronic marijuana users. I was a marijuana user for a very long time, and I fell into a lot of deluded thinking and a lot of antisocial behavior when I was a stoner. Like, I was kind of the stereotypical long hair stoner with the cat t-shirt, the pizza boxes everywhere, but I wasn't in my right mind, and I wasn't even really a gamer, but I was playing the same games over and over again, just kind of to myself, and I lost a lot of time doing that. And I think all these forms of escapism have different causes, but it's mainly people don't want to be living in the moment because it's too painful for whatever reason. It could be an illness, it could be trauma in the past, it could be that just the grind is so hard now to make the basic needs that people are going to drugs or alcohol or forms of pornography as well is very common, social media, and it's all forms of escapism to kind of get away from human suffering. And I feel at this point in my life it's better to bear the cross that you can and to take on a little bit of the suffering and try to find meaning within it. And I feel like that's the way forward for me. And I don't know how to break the habit of my social media scrolling, because I believe that in part is due to my habits that I've formed over the course of 20 years and my lack of social skills. So I need to polish up my social skills and get out more, which makes it hard because of my goals and my routine, because I'm actually becoming busier and busier, where social interaction opportunities are getting less frequent to jump upon. And when they do kind of present themselves to me, I'm so rusty, I always fumble the ball. And then to kind of add to that cycle, I go online and I kind of research how I could have did it better, which which ends to more scrolling because it's a never ending kind of, like if you read a book, it has the back cover and you're done. But with social media, you can be on there for like 7 hours if you really go down the rabbit hole and never stop. And I have a long watch later playlist on my YouTube of how to kind of get over some of this stuff. And then you kind of sit down, and I can't really focus well. I have ADD, and to focus on all these like self-help things, I find it's easier if I play like a video game. And I'm not a gamer. I have 2 games. I have Skyrim, I have GTA on an Xbox 360, and I just kind of zone out, and I just almost like a fidget spinner with the controller and just kind of stare at the screen and just kind of walk around. And then that helps me focus on the lecture that I'm listening to on the phone with the self-help. But I'm wanting to be more active. I want to be doing jogs. I want to be doing weightlifting. And these are kind of solo hobbies where you're not really interacting with other people. You'll say hello and give a nod, a small talk to someone at the gym. I could get a running partner potentially, but schedules conflict. I don't know many people, and I don't like running. I'm just doing it, kind of dipping my toes into it every now and again. I'm more of a gym guy, and I feel like that's going to be the best new form of escapism is to really double down on the gym. I was very hard into the gym a few years ago, and then I kind of got hit with life in a few different ways, and I'm still going to the gym, but more going through the motions rather than pushing to failure and eating right. So I'm looking to correct that and start upping my calories and gain a little bit more weight and start pushing some heavier weights again. And maybe that'll boost some dopamine in my brain and get me thinking correct again. But I get burnt out mentally and physically quite fast, and it's hard to juggle all these things, which is life, and that's just kind of how everybody is. And maybe some caffeine or something in there, but it's still like it's a lonely road to do that, because then I'm working and then I'm working out, and I don't really have much social life in that regard either. Getting a dog, I live in an apartment. There's no yard. I don't have much time for a dog anymore. Dogs were another form of escapism, because you kind of don't really have to deal with people directly in a one-on-one basis. You kind of have a dog, you go to the dog park, they have a dog, and you're almost communicating to them by proxy through the dogs. You're talking about the dogs are socializing with each other. And I found the dog park was a great way of meeting people. That was probably because of that dog proxy type thing. Like you get stuck on any kind of conversation, and then you just pivot and you start talking about the dog again. And it was very easy to meet like-minded people and kind of just humble people that like their dogs that way. But yeah, so anyways, I'm going to end this video before I ramble too much. But I've been noticing a lot of people just are either on their phones all the time, or they're doing drugs. And it's a lot of forms of escapism, and I don't think we have much of a strong community anymore. And I'm not really saying if that's a good or a bad thing. I'm just kind of trying to brainstorm ways to deal with it. So anyways, like and subscribe if you like this video. That's my video on escapism, lots of forms of it, lots of ways you can get addicted to substances and apps and behaviors. Escapism could even be eating cake all day. Like there's people that sit around and they're addicted to sugar, the way it makes them feel, and that must be some kind of escapism there as well. So anyways, peace out.